Well, good morning and welcome again to another one of my videos. And I hope these videos are really helpful for you. Um, Today, I'd like to maybe try to answer one question that really only you can answer. Uh, that is the fact that should you use Microsoft Office or not? Well, that question is one that you have to answer. And the reason that you have to answer it is because your needs may be different than mine. But I will tell you this, anything that I can do with Microsoft Office, I can do with LibreOffice, which I'm using today. Now, I've been out of the workforce for 16, 17 years. But when I was in a workforce, I used Microsoft Office all the time. I help people out in the financial department. I was in AIT, but I'd help people out in the financial department, in the quality control. They had to make a lot of reports, and I automated everything for them using macros and spreadsheets, and also using Word documents and using macros with them. And I'm going to show you a few things that I do with LibreOffice. Now, you can do this with Microsoft Office too. That will save you a lot of time. And right now, I use LibreOffice a lot because I'm a writer and publisher, and I publish a lot. So with that said, I'm just going to say, I'm going to share my screen here. I'm just going to share one screen here. I got two screens. Just need to share one. Okay, this is a 19-page document that has a lot of things in it that I have to change. There's abbreviations like this V. I got to change that to verse or verses. And the Roman numerals, like here's a Roman numeral. Let's see here. I find a couple of them here. There's usually a lot of them in these documents. Here's a Roman numeral 2. And there's, it's hard to find if I just look for them, but let me show you what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm just going to get to the end of the document. I am going to get rid of all the bullet points. And if you notice that it's kind of highlighted here, like this document has got a lot of bullet points in it. And the reason I got to get rid of some of this stuff is so the narrator reads it right. So I'm just going to go up here to edit, and I'm going to select all. And then I'm going to click on the bullet points. Now, let me show you here. Now, here's a bullet point right here. If I click on it, if I come back up, that bullet point is gone. I got rid of every bullet point in the document. And that's a real fast way to do it. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to find all the Roman numerals. Like here, I have to change this to 1. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these. Fast way to do it is just go down here and see, I'm going to look for Roman numeral 1, period, in a space. And I'm going to make it case sensitive. So now it'll go through the entire document every time I hit the enter key. Now here it found one again now, so I'll change that to a 1. Now look for another one. Okay, here's another one. I think you get the idea. I just go through the whole thing and just change them all. Now the next thing I have to change, I have to find that V. Okay, V, period, space. I'll leave the match case on, and let's look for them now. Wow, there wasn't any at all in this document. That's unusual. So that's good though. I don't have to change anything. And the next one I'll have to do is the X. And I know there won't be any, whoop, that's not an X, that's a Z, period, space. And then I'll do a search for that one. And I knew there wouldn't be no 10s because there was no 5s. So, all right, the next thing I'm going to do is take that out of here. I'm going to take that match case off so I don't forget to do that. And the next thing I'm going to do is I want to change Luke, L-U-K to L-U-K-E, And there's a lot of them in the document. I'm going to change the V period to verses. And then there's other abbreviations of the different books of the Bible. And what I'm going to do is I am going to come up here to tools, and I'm going to go to my macros, and I'll just do edit macro. I want to show you my macros and how I do this. Under my macros, I made a class by itself, Bibles, in module 1, and it has all my macros in it. And if you notice, I have one macro that's called call all macros. I'm going to show you that's an important macro. But let's take, for example, Genesis. Let's just look at Genesis. This is the macro for Genesis. And all it does is it finds all the GEN period space, and it replaces it with GENESIS, Genesis. So every place that it's abbreviated, it makes it the full book name. And it does the same thing with all these other macros, except for call all macros. Call all macros calls Genesis, calls Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, so forth. It calls all those macros and changes them. Now there's another important macro that it calls books, okay? So whatever book I happen to be in, if I go to that macro, I'll show you what it looks like. When it calls books, it will find, in this case, I'm in the Gospel of Luke, it'll find Luke, L-U-K, remember I showed you this L-U-K here, and it changes it to L-U-K-E. Very simple. Now, how do I run all those macros? I have a shortcut or a hotkey to do that. So when you're making a hotkey for a macro, you come down to categories here and you look for LibreOffice macros, because that's what I'm in. Okay. And I just click on that little arrow. I go to my macros. Remember, I had it under Bibles, and it's under module 1. Okay, now I find that macro that says run all macros, or see if I can find it here. Oh, I thought it was right up front here. Oh, here, call all macros. Excuse me. Hang on a second. I just turned my mic off because I had a cough for a minute. I assigned this hotkey to this macro, which calls all macros, Shift Control F1. Okay. So with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit that key, Shift Control F1, and I want you to watch what happens. Oh, I guess I'm not in the document. You got to be in the document to do this. There it is. Okay, it changed all of these to verses, changed L-U-K to L-U-K-E. Any other changes that I wanted it to make, it made. And now what I would have to do is there's just a few more things that I would have to do. Like it changes it to verse and a singular. And in some cases, it's going to be plural. Like here, it's going to be plural. This is going to be plural. This is going to be plural. It's going to be plural. That's going to be plural. It's going to be plural. I would add the word in between here to 38 and 39. This would be 40 and 41. I would go through this whole thing and do this, and I'm not going to take time to do that. But in order to do that, and in a lot of cases, it's just in a singular, I would again go to the find and type in verse. And then I would do a search. And you'll notice that it finds a singular, single, 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 single. In this case, I would have to put an S on this one. because it's plural. And that one's singular, singular, singular. You get the idea. Okay, when this is all done, I would save the document. But then I would also do one more thing. Here is a real important feature that I use to narrate my documents. It like make a audio book. I would highlight the whole thing and I would do a copy paste. I would do a select all, and I would do a copy. And I'm not going to do it because the document is not done, but I would copy it. And then what I would do is I would open up a browser, and I would do is I would paste it into a browser, into a Google Doc. Now you might be asking, why don't I just copy and paste it, or not even copy and paste it at all, and just use the LibreOffice document, or if you're using Microsoft, the Microsoft document. You can actually do it. Now, I'm using Linux, but I'm going to show you something that I use from Windows. That it's really a good browser. When they came out with the Edge browser, and Edge is available for Linux. And I installed it, and it has one feature on it that I use a lot. Well, let's take, for example, let's just grab Luke 1. Okay, I was working on Luke 4, I think it was, but let's grab this document and go to share. Oh, I already got it. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to close it. Okay. I already did this one, so I'm going to do it again for you. I'm going to go back up here to share. I'm going to go publish to the web, and I'm going to say publish. And I'm going to open up the link for the publish, and I'm going to copy that link. Okay. Now that that's copied, I am going to get the Edge browser, which I have open on another screen, and I'm going to drag it over here. And I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that link into this. Okay, now it's pasted. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear this or not, but there's a little icon up here. It looks like a little book. If I click on that, it opens that document in read mode. And I just say, read out loud. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this or not. I can, but you might not be able to when I'm recording it. Let's try it once. It's reading it to me right now. I'm going to stop it. Now, I'm not sure if you heard that or not, but it actually, it read it to me. And this is how I make my audiobooks. And I hope you kind of understand what I'm doing here is the fact that I'm going to stop my sharing here. All these things that I'm doing is actually makes it real easy to use LibreOffice in place of MS Office. I just like it and I use it and I use all the features of it. And it's a powerful program. Oh, grant you might run into a couple of quirks here and there, but I used to do that with Microsoft Office. It's gotten better throughout the years. And like I said, I use the Edge browser because it has that read feature in it and I really like. And I use it to make my audiobooks. And it's got good sounding voices. And I didn't go through that, but if you have Edge on your Windows computers, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And for all you Linux users out there, you can pull in and install that program for your using on Linux. Now, there's one other Windows program that I use, and I'm just going to start it up here. Well, let me share my screen one more time here. And I'll share the same one here. And I'm going to open a program that's called OneNote. And OneNote is actually a Microsoft product again. Hopefully it's opening here. I think I clicked on it. There it is. It just took a minute to open. I got a lot of things running though, so a little bit slow opening, but it goes out on the internet. It looks in your OneDrive, finds your documents that are in there. And this happens to be one that I was working on a while ago. And it's the introduction to the prophet Malachi. And again, this has got a feature. You go to the view menu, and it has the Immersive Reader, the same one that's being used in the Edge browser is being used here. Okay, so I can use this one too. But the only problem is on the voices, there's really only a choice of a couple voices that I can use. So if I go to the Immersive Reader and I go to voices here, I only got a female voice and a male voice. That's all I have. But again, if I just click on this, it'll read it. No, I don't know if you can hear this. I stop it. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but I can hear it. You might not hear it on the recording. But them are two features or two programs that I use. I'm going to close it off. And I'm just going to take and grab this browser window, and I'm going to move it back over to the other screen so I don't get all mixed up. And then I'm going to stop my sharing. Well, that's pretty well that. I know that I kind of ramble a little bit, but I hope you picked up some points this morning on how to use LibreOffice and how to make a file that can be narrated, how you can take a Google Doc, because Immersive Reader will not read a Google Doc right off. You have to share it and get a link so it can be published to the internet, and then it will read it. So couple simple tricks that I learned, and I use them a lot. So hope you find this video helpful. With that said, I'm going to